In the previous video, we worked with TYPO3 categories and established a many-to-many relationship between our custom table and TYPO3's built-in category system. We updated our model to use object storage, modified the getter and setter methods accordingly, and used the TYPO3 category domain model to handle category objects properly. This allowed us to assign multiple categories to a record and manage them in a structured, object-oriented way. In today's video, we will move on to form handling in TYPO3. We will learn how to create forms, handle user input, and process submitted data within our extension. We will also explore how TYPO3 manages form data and how it flows from the frontend to the controller for further processing. First of all, we will install the TYPO3/form extension. The extension comes with a visual form editor, validation features, email handling, and integration with TYPO3's backend. This makes form creation much faster and easier while following TYPO3 best practices. By installing the form extension, we gain access to TYPO3's complete form framework. Now let's check in the backend. Here we can see the form section. Let's create our first form. Now we will create fields in the form. We will need 3 basic fields: a name field to collect the user's name, an email field to collect the user's email address, and a message field where the user can enter their query or feedback. Once these fields are added, we will configure their labels, validation rules, and other settings to ensure that users provide the required information before submitting the form. Now we will use our form as a custom content element. However, we currently have space for only 4 custom elements in our backend layout. To make our new form element available, we need to update the page tsconfig layout configuration. By modifying the tsconfig file, we can adjust the backend layout settings and define additional positions for our custom content elements. This ensures that our form can be selected and placed correctly within the TYPO3 page layout. Once the tsconfig configuration is updated, we will refresh the backend and verify that our custom form element is available in the desired content area. Here we see a layout extra field now. Let's add our form as a custom content element now. Now let's add our form configuration in the config.yaml file. This file is used by TYPO3's form framework to define and register forms in a structured way. It allows us to configure form identifiers, structure, and processing logic in a centralized configuration format. By adding our form in config.yaml, TYPO3 will be able to recognize it and load it in the Backend form module. This means we can manage and reuse the form easily without writing extra code. Now let's add the configuration for the form extension. In this step, we define the root paths for our custom form templates, layouts, and partials. This is important because it allows us to override the default TYPO3 form extension templates with our own customized files. Now let's render our form using the identifier that we defined earlier in the page.tsconfig file. Using this identifier, TYPO3's form framework will automatically fetch the correct form from the configuration and render it in the frontend. We don't need to build the form manually because TYPO3 handles the rendering process based on the defined setup. And our form is rendered successfully as a custom content element. As we check the required fields in the backend form configuration, we can now see that the validation is working correctly. When a required field is left empty, TYPO3 automatically prevents the form submission and shows the appropriate validation message. So now we need to locate the backend template files of the TYPO3 form extension. For this, we will explore the extension structure and look inside the public or resource folders where TYPO3 stores its default form templates and assets. So here you can see all the fields template file of the form. So we will override the fields files that we need. So here we already defined our override path for our form. So let's override the text field template file one by one. So let's override email template file. Now we can see the text that we wrote in over new email template file. Now do the same for text template file. Since we had chosen two text box VL in the form backend, so we will not able to see changes made by text template. But we will see textbook changes on fronted 2 times, one for name and other for message field. In the future we will change our text area box for name to text in the form backend. So we will test again then there. So let's move to text area field now and test it. So, now we see the text that we wrote in the backend. In TYPO3 form, we will now override the page.fluid.html. This template is responsible for rendering the overall structure of the form page in the front end. Form.fluid.html is responsible for rendering the actual form structure on the front end, including all form elements, fields, and the submit button. So, let's override it too. Now we will customize this form to match our previous Contact Us design. We will inspect the existing structure and identify the CSS classes used in our old layout. After that, we will apply the same classes to the respective form fields like name, email, and message, so the form matches our original design perfectly. Now we will apply form classes to our TYPO3 form. Here we can see out form class. Now let's move to text area class. Here we can see that our text area classes are shown in the text area class of the form. Now do the same for email. Yeah, now everything is looking so much beautiful. We want to add classes to our label, so for that we will use field template file and override it. And our override is fully working here. So here we will add our label classes. Now, we can see labels, these are looking much better now. This step word is actually the page name in the form backend. Let's remove it now. Now we will handle the placeholders in this part of the form. Placeholders are the hint texts inside the input fields that guide the user about what to enter. These are out of the place box now, let's check our backend and fix it. Move our text from description and paste it to placeholder of all the fields one by one. Now we will customize our submit button. Putting classes to our submit button. This render is rendering partail of navigation that is actually our submit button. So, let's override it too. Now our rendering is working fine. Now our submit button is looking beautiful. Wow. Now we will change the text of our submit button from submit to send message. That will be changed from the backend. From here we change the text of our submit button. Now we will change the name field from text field to text only. So, let's expand the rows of the message text box. So let's submit our form and see what will happen. Nothing will happen because we do not set up the form submit response. So let's do it. Let's add the send email functionality on form submit and put our required data in these fields. We can also redirect user to specific page on our form submission. So now let's test it. So in our dev environment, to test email functionality, we use a local mail testing server like MailPit or MailHog. Here we received our mail. If you like our video, subscribe to T3 Hub. And if you want tutorial on any specific topic, you can comment it. I will make a video on that specific topic.